Hello, I'm Kaiser and welcome to Moose Reads. Before I get started, I want to say that the opinions that I give here are my own opinions. They are extremely subjective. If I dislike a book, it is not a reflection on the author, and it is not a reflection on people who do like it. Different people have different tastes, and that's okay. Today, I will be reviewing The Scum Villain Self-Saving System, Volume 1 by Mo Xiang Tong Shou. This is a fantasy novel, the description says. Half-demon Luo Binghe rose from humble beginnings and a tortured past to become unrivaled in strength and beauty. With his dominion over both the human and demon realms, and his 100-strong harem, he is truly the most powerful protagonist. In a trashy web novel series. At least, that's what Xiang believes, as he finishes reading the final chapter in Proud Immortal Demon Way. But when a bout of rage leads to his sudden death, Xiang is reborn into the world of the novel in the body of Shen Qingqiu, the beautiful but cruel teacher of a young Luo Binghe. While Shen Qingqiu may have the incredible power of a cultivator, he is destined to be horrifically punished for crimes against the protagonist. The new Shen Qingqiu now has only one course of action: get into Luo Binghe's good graces before the young man's rise to power, or suffer the awful fate of a true scum villain. 2 stars. I bought this because I read and adored both Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation and Heaven Official's Blessing. Given that the author was 2 for 2, I figured that even though I'm not the biggest fan of transmigration, I'd probably at least like her other books. Unfortunately, I just don't. The tone and feel of this book was more or less the same as the others. It had good pacing and good energy. I'm just not a fan of most of the tropes being employed, and piling them all together means I just can't enjoy the plot of this book. This book doesn't really start up with the romance, given that Luo Binghe is just a kid. Theoretically, this would make the first book my favorite, given that the romance is most of my problem with this series. The trouble is that it has a lot of other minor things that grate on me a bit. Because the premise of this book is that the main character has been dropped into the body of the main antagonist for a poorly written web novel, it becomes difficult for me to determine how much of the things I don't like are a problem with the actual book's writing or a deliberate artifact of the Stallion novel it takes place in. For example, this book is pretty sexist. Obviously, one would expect a Stallion novel to be sexist, especially an exceedingly long one. The women are all just there as prizes and objects to boost the hero's reputation and titillate the readers. So, is Scum Villain sexist because Proud Immortal Demon Way was sexist, or is it sexist because it just is? Either way, Shen Qingqiu's persistent comments about this or that woman that will become a member of Luo Binghe's harem didn't endear either him or this novel to me at all. More endearing are his opinions on bad writing. I can certainly sympathize with the frustration of foreshadowing that goes nowhere and plot lines with strong potential that just get dropped. Although, I do have to wonder a bit about how Shen Qingqiu's supposed improvements come across to the reader. I did also appreciate how Shen Qingqiu handled waking up in another world. I have to agree that characters responding to unfamiliar circumstances with, "Is this a movie?" is extremely annoying and, in my opinion, not terribly realistic. Sure, one wouldn't expect to wake up in a fantasy world, but one also wouldn't expect to wake up in the middle of an elaborate movie set. Even if you did think all the strangely dressed people were actors, I'm pretty sure most people would stick with a simple, "What's going on?" or "What happened?" So, yeah, I liked Shen Qingqiu's determination not to act like a moron right away. Shame he couldn't continue down that path. I was very frustrated that Shen Qingqiu wasn't a better liar. It doesn't say in the description, but part of the plot is that there is a system in place that will award or deduct points based on his actions. At the start of the book, he isn't allowed to act out of character or he'll lose points. If he drops below 0 points, he dies, so a lot of his early problems have to do with him wanting to act in ways that the original Shen Qingqiu wouldn't, both because he's not an asshole and because he doesn't want to make Luo Binghe too angry. I realize that there's nothing wrong with Shen Qingqiu being incompetent. Many characters are. I am in no way saying this is a mistake or a flaw with the author's writing. It's just that sometimes inept characters annoy me. Given the situation Shen Qingqiu is in and the stakes he's working with, he really needs to be better at this, and when he fails at simple lies, it drives me crazy. However, I will say I saw a post once that said that this series is actually a really good deconstruction of a lot of genre tropes and cliches. I don't think I actually read the whole thing since I hadn't read the series through at the time I came across it, so I don't have any idea what else they might have said. I just feel that I should at least mention it because, assuming they were right, I don't know enough about the genre to appreciate any of it. Depending on how you count, I've read either a total of 20 danmei altogether, or I've read 3 and I'm partway through 2 more. Even assuming all of those were the same genre, which they really aren't, I don't have enough experience to judge. Possibly this book/series is more enjoyable when viewed from that lens. I'll never know. That's all I have to say without spoilers. If you don't like spoilers, now is the time to pause or close the video. For everyone else, let's talk details. This isn't really a spoiler, but it is details that I'm not sure are poignant to a spoiler-free review. That is, I want to complain more specifically about Shen Qingqiu being a terrible liar. Just about the first thing that Shen Qingqiu has to do after arriving is head down the mountain with his disciples to handle a problem in a nearby town. Shen Qingqiu is riding in a carriage while his students are all on horseback. Only, since everyone bullies Luo Binghe, there aren't enough horses for him. Shen Qingqiu eventually invites Luo Binghe to ride in the carriage with him, arguing with the system that it isn't out of character because original Shen Qingqiu wanted to sleep with his female disciple Ning Yingying, and she was upset about Luo Binghe running behind them, so making Ning Yingying happy is completely in character. It works, more or less, but it seemed to me there was a much simpler solution. As they were setting off, I kept wondering why Shen Qingqiu didn't just invite Ning Yingying to ride in the carriage with him, while Luo Binghe rode her horse, since there weren't enough. If questioned further, he could have said he didn't want Luo Binghe on foot because it would slow them down. It seemed both obvious and simple, and it doesn't leave any room for the system to declare he's being out of character. Also, it would have kept Luo Binghe from having to run for any part of the journey, and since Shen Qingqiu is trying not to make him unhappy, that's gotta count for something. Later, he gets captured by the demon they're trying to catch, along with Luo Binghe. They're both tied up, and the demon wants to steal Shen Qingqiu's skin, so it's not looking good. With no other idea what to do, Shen Qingqiu convinces the demon to take Luo Binghe instead, trusting the protagonist's plot armor to protect him. It goes exactly as expected, with a beam suddenly collapsing and hitting the demon on the head and allowing Luo Binghe to get loose. Afterward, Luo Binghe is understandably hurt that, were it not for the coincidence, Shen Qingqiu would have gotten him killed. Seems like a great time to lie. Tell him that he saw the beam, was on the verge of collapse, and was only trying to lure the demon into its path. But Shen Qingqiu just leaves it as it is. Then, of course, when Shen Qingqiu does lie, he's terrible at it. He goes to cultivate in seclusion in a network of caves on the mountain, and while there, he senses someone having a chi deviation. He goes to look and finds Liu Chunga. In the original novel, Shen Qingqiu helps the chi deviation along and kills Liu Chunga, which he is later punished for. Obviously, Shen Qingqiu isn't going to follow that script, so he helps Liu Chunga out, since by this point he's allowed to be out of character. However, to explain to Liu Chunga why he's acting out of character, he tells him that he's recently had reason to rethink some of his decisions, and he wants to be friends. He could have just said that no matter how much they disagree, he wasn't callous enough to let his Shidi die. Certainly that would have been more believable. I suppose I shouldn't really complain, though. I myself am only a good liar on paper, so who am I to judge? After a few years, they get to the point in the story where Shen Qingqiu is supposed to throw Luo Binghe into the Endless Abyss. Shen Qingqiu doesn't want to do it, but the system will kill him if he skips this key event, so do what he must. Sure, fine, whatever. But just after that, we find out that the author has also transmigrated into his own book. I didn't care for this reveal. Largely this may be because I don't particularly like the author, Airplane, but it also feels weird to have a character transmigrate and then find out he's not the only person mucking about with the story. that's more or less where it ends. I'm pretty sure the first time I read through this, I was only mildly irritated and also curious what would happen after Luo Benghe reappeared, so I wasn't so loath to pick up Volume 2. Less so this time around, but I bought all 4 books and I was determined to read them with the vague hope that the author might bring me around. So, on to Volume 2. If you like this video, I hope you'll watch more in the future. Thanks for watching this one. Bye!